Well, it looks like after 2 years of not doing these, I've returned to tell you guys a story about one of my many L's. I know I probably said sometime in the past I wasn't going to do any more of these, and maybe I'll explain why in another video, but for now, we'll be going over the hard times of college freshman life, more specifically, in the dorms. The most painful part of this story is how hard my mates was at the prospect of finally moving out, just to see what it actually entailed. I mean, don't get me wrong, living at the dorm was still far better than living in the cell, my room, at my parents' crib, but I really thought I would be a fully free man. It was like I was on probation, you know, like when you're free from the bondage, but you can't truly act up like how you would with the niggas. I mean, not that I would know anything about any of that. I was an approachable dude, never got suspended or anything. Well, you see, in my senior year of high school, just like the rest of my life before then, I was down pretty cut. And the type of house I was raised, I couldn't really enjoy life the way I was meant to. So it's like leaving the home required coming back before dark, which meant the actually grown for their age Negroes I associated with didn't have the time to be waiting up for me and all that. So basically, my social growth was stunted. Also, when I was actually in the house, you know you gotta do the typical labor activities, like washing dishes, and that deadass lawn work I talked about in the other video. And it kinda hurts my soul to be called over to do something like a hoe. So I figured, hey, I'm about to graduate, which means I can finally live on campus and avoid all these daily L's. Plus, when I get there, I can just be chilling out in my room without having to worry about bending over for the next man. So when I was looking for dorm rooms in the campus to move into, I knew I had to make sure it was a single. I can't tell you how many eons I spent looking through all the dorm rooms and making sure they were appropriate. Like, I put as much effort into this as a new family trying to find a home or something. Moving out of my house was such a bigger deal than it needed to be. Like in most cases, a nigga feels pressure to leave when they're 18, but in mine, it was like the opposite. I was constantly told that going to university was unnecessary because I could just go to community college for way cheaper. But Negro, I was 18, dick dry, socially stunted, I needed to escape. I really pressed for the chance to go to the university, and the fact that I was like 4 hours away from where I already lived made it even worse. When they finally agreed to let me go, they told me not to do any wild stuff in college, which you know defeats the purpose of going in the first place. Like a nigga was trying to get lit, but I felt so bad about the fact that they were giving up 10k that I agreed. Even though I could have been out there wilding and nobody would know, I still decided not to do any of that and just go to class and work on videos. Some of you guys may consider this a wasted opportunity, and you know, maybe it was, but honestly, it makes the end of the story a little more bearable, seeing that I at least wasn't making an ass out of myself in public. So when it was time for me to make the move, I got all my stuff packed up and ready to go, and I traveled with my family for hours on end before we got there. The whole place was doing the most, cause it was like a few days before class began. You know, other niggas need to settle in and all that. So even when we got there, it took like another hour just to drive in all the civilian designated areas and find a place to park. When we finally got everything packed up and ready to go, it was time to enter the lobby and take the elevator to my room. I can still remember the lead up, how hyped I was to finally see my room, and how my life would be so much better, knowing I wouldn't have to worry about other niggas on my time. So I finally made it to my room, and with the key in hand, I opened the door, ready for an exciting new page in life, and that's when it happened. When I opened the door to see another nigga sitting across from me, it was like my whole world was shattered. I'm not gonna lie, the sight almost made me shed a tear for the first time in years. Almost tough guy, don't get any ideas. But yeah, I needed to be put on a watch list for a moment there. How could I make this mistake, I asked? How could this be happening? I had to talk to one of the women working there, cause clearly they got me fucked up. I was like, hey, I signed up for a room that was a single with a shared bathroom, but it appears I got a double instead. Is there any way of fixing that? It looks like you purchased a double. Well, is there any way I can, like, get a single? Well, unfortunately, all the single rooms have been purchased, so you'll have to wait until the next semester, unless someone drops out or agrees to switch with you. Mind you, as I found out later, there were only 4 single rooms in each floor to choose from, and they were each like twice as expensive as my room, so I knew not only would I not get the chance to get a single this semester, but I probably don't have the funds to ever get them. I was so my feelings over all this, I barely even exchanged words with the other guy. When our families left, we didn't really say much to each other, and for my entire first semester, I could probably count the amount of times I spoke to him on my 2 hands, and each time consisted of like 8 words between us, so it turns out years of having to stay at home irreparably damaged me into the antisocial school malpresence you hear before you put. Speaking of wilding out, the dorm building had a strict no smoking policy, so anytime there was smoke caught, the entire building had to get hoed. For some reason, the bum-ass niggas I shared a building with didn't get the message, which means like once every 3 days, we would all have to get rounded up, like it was World War II, and made to stand outside until the school's 12 found any of the brown. One time it was so bad, they had us sitting outside in the cold at like 3 AM, cause some hoe-ass nigga couldn't be asked to just be off one in the comfort of his friend's crib. Like nigga, if you wanna be in the clouds so much, just bake some brownies or something. Stop pulling the air in the building, my guy. But other than that, and the heartbreak of having to share a room, it wasn't too terrible. My roommate wasn't piping hose in the room, so I didn't have to worry about that. And it was nice to be able to leave my dorm at any hour I wanted, and not have to ask permission, or worry about coming home on time. But like AMC said in 2013, and I can say with confidence that I have never been more miserable.